Welcome to the Back in Time podcast with Kyle and JD, where every week we jump into our DeLorean, cruise to 88 miles per hour, and travel back in time to review our favorite films. Every week we talk about current cinema, the latest trailers, and we pick a new favorite film every single episode.
But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. 1.21 gigawatts!
Don't say that! Never say that! Goonies never say die!
We're the best, we're the beautiful, we're the only Ghostbusters.
Now, here's your host, Kyle Autry, and his co-host, JD. Welcome to episode 20 of the Back in Time podcast. I am Kyle Autry, joined as always by my co-host, Justin DeSandro. Justin, how you doing, bud?
I'm not feeling well, you asshole.
Okay, let me rephrase that. How are you feeling, asshole?
I'm doing well. How are you? How is the family? How was Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas was good. We got to spend time at home this year instead of having to travel on Christmas like we have in years past, so it was nice to stay at our own house. And then, we waited a couple days, went and saw my parents, and just got home 2 days ago. So
How is Mr. Autry doing?
He's doing good. Doing good. I think he's ready to stop working anytime now.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, how was your Christmas? Anything exciting?
No, pretty uneventful. Really relaxing, laid back. Got sick. You know,
Yeah.
normal great Christmas.
Yeah, we've been sick here too. Something that's definitely going around. Did you end up staying in DC, or did you do some traveling?
No, I didn't make it back to Chicago. Flights were like really expensive. So
Yeah.
I spent the last week just working and catching up on stuff, and so it was nice to not be bothered by anybody or anything, and working during the holidays.
Did you buy yourself your own Christmas gift?
Are you coaxing me to make a Hanukkah joke?
No, I'm generally curious if you bought yourself something.
I mean, you know how it is as an adult. You just buy yourself whatever you want whenever you want it.
Yeah.
Kids, all the children listening, that's what adults do. You just buy yourself whatever you want whenever you want it.
I gotta say, I was hoping you would ask me, but it doesn't appear that you are. My favorite gift was I got the Disaster Artist book that I'm reading through right now, and I got the Room DVD that goes with the movie that I've been talking about the last couple weeks.
Did you watch it yet?
I'm gonna read the book first, and then I'm gonna watch the movie.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Now I got a bunch of clothes that I'm going to take back and return for money. Shout out to you, Mom. Thanks for the clothes.
I got an Amazon gift card for Christmas that came like 4 days too late. Shout out to you, Mom. Your Christmas gift did not make it in time for Christmas.
Hey, I didn't get a pair of Jordans this year, but I did pick up the new Kyrie Irvings.
I don't even know what that means, so I'm not even jealous.
You don't know who Kyrie Irving is? Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm a white male in his 30s.
Not watching basketball anymore. Gotcha. Okay. Well,
If he was in the original NBA Jam, then yes, I know who he is, but he's not in NBA Jam. So
okay. So, like Greg Anthony, you know. Kyrie Irving, no dice.
Was that first name in NBA Jam or
Yes.
NBA Jam TE?
Yes, he would have been with NBA Jam TE with the Knicks.
Who do you replace?
Starks.
Well, that's why I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
You could not play the Knicks with Ewing without Starks. You needed his outside jump shot.
That's funny that we're talking about this. My buddy came over, the other Justin, and he brought over his Super Nintendo, and he's already jailbroke it, so we've got all the NBA Jam games on there, and that's what we played for like an hour and a half.
So that explains why you're very familiar with the TE lineups.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. Well, let's jump into the show. I thought this would be fun to kind of just come on here and have like a year-end review show where we talk about our favorite movies from the year that we saw in theaters, maybe our biggest disappointments, what we're looking to most in 2018, and then maybe talk about our podcast a little bit too, since that's why we're here.
Yeah, I like it. I was very excited when you came up with this idea for this episode, so let's rock, man.
Yeah, and this is New Year's Eve, so shout out to all our listeners for hitting the download button, but shout out to us for putting in some work here on the new year.
It was either that or sit and watch reruns of Entourage alone.
I love that show.
Well, that's how I'm spending my New Year's Eve, is watching Entourage. So.
I literally named my dog after that show. So every time he pisses me off, I yell, Lloyd! That's his name.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's jump into, let's do top 5 favorite movies of the year. And it could be cinema or it could be streaming if you have like a Netflix. So why don't I start? And then you can give me year 5 as well. So
yeah, let's rock and roll.
Number 1 for me is going to be It. The sleeper of the year, in my opinion. $35 million budget, just a tad under $700 million worldwide in box office. And I think we all thought this was going to be pretty good, but I don't think anybody expected it to go the $700 million in box office. So any thoughts on my first choice here? Agree or disagree?
Sorry, I was on mute and I was talking, and obviously you couldn't hear me. No, I'm with you. Obviously, there was nothing that you could have said to not hype up It. Right. And the numbers speak for itself. Like, you can't not call it a critical success. I mean, it kicked ass.
Yeah.
With that being said, I wouldn't necessarily put it in my top 5, but I'm waiting for the adult version because I think that both films together are going to make the experience for what I think it truly should become.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Number 2 for me is going to be Get Out, which I know you're not going to agree with. So that movie was a $4.5 million budget that grossed over $250 million worldwide and is actually listed as the 15th highest grossing movie of the year, ahead of Pirates of the Caribbean that had over $100 million budget. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I know you, and we've talked about Get Out. We've touched it in previous episodes. I just don't think, how to put this without sounding like an asshole. I thought the premise was decent. I thought the delivery was cool. I think some of the shots they did with the hypnosis were pretty spectacular in the dark place or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable, but I thought they relied too heavy on the comedy. I thought they just made it way too on the nose for it to really, for me, to be like a reputable, rewatchable horror movie.
Okay.
As a movie itself, I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing the entire time.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it so much, is I didn't go into it expecting to laugh a bunch. And it had me laughing. It also had parts where I was kind of like on the edge of my seat. And then I thought the writing was pretty good, so that's why they get a spot on my top 5. So, number 3, I don't think you've seen this movie yet, but this is a recent release, and it's going to be Wonder, which is the Owen Wilson, Julia Roberts movie about the kid with the deformity. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I thought the movie was it was fun. It's one of those movies that literally throughout you kind of experience every emotion while you watch it. So there was laugh, there was crying, there was sadness, there was happiness at the end. And I just thought it was overall a really good movie and one that I would watch again. So that gets my number 3 spot. Number 4, this is going to be my only big budget movie on my list, and it's going to be Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the 5th highest grossing movie of the year. I think I picked this movie, one, because I really liked the Peter Parker, which is, what's his name again? Tom
Holland.
Tom Holland. I thought he did in my opinion, the best Peter Parker we've seen so far. And I thought this was the best big budget movie that did not disappoint me the most. So that's why they get my number 4 spot. Any thoughts on that?
I'm a whore for Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed the movie. I thought Michael Keaton was fantastic. I thought the story was pretty solid. I liked the way that they stretched it out across from Queens to the Washington Monument. Tom Holland, I thought, was a decent Spider-Man. For me, I still loved Andrew Garfield. I think his portrayal of Peter Parker was so effing snarky.
Okay.
I miss Andrew Garfield.
Okay. That is interesting. I didn't really care for Garfield too much. I think we've had this conversation, though.
Yeah, and nobody came to your birthday party, so what are you going to do about it?
You did have to bring that up. Number 5. This may be a bit of a sleeper. Probably a movie not too many people have heard about. It's been nominated for 11 different awards, and it's The Big Sick. And it's a Judd Apatow produced movie. Small budget, not a huge box office hit. And it's got Kumail Nanjiani from, what's that show that he's on that's really good? I
don't know. Harold and Kumar go to a TV show?
It's Silicon Valley. He's Dinesh. And this is an autobiographical movie, so it's comedy. And just overall, like, the writing's fantastic. The story's awesome. And, it's racking up the awards now. So this is the one movie that is actually watchable right now, other than Spider-Man Homecoming on my list. So if you have Amazon Prime, it's on there streaming now. So I would recommend you take a look at it. So that's my top 5. Let's hear yours.
So, I don't know. I'm on the fence to whether I want to say 2017 was a great year for movies or a bad year for movies. I'm going to have my top 5 list, and it's not going to be necessarily in any order, because I think that the movies varied so much a lot of times that it was difficult to say, while I enjoyed Thor 3 more than I enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm not saying that it's a better movie by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that fair?
That's fair.
So, with that being said, I'm going to open up with Baby Driver.
Nice. That almost made my list. I really liked Baby Driver.
I knew I would like it going into it. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. We both, when it comes to movies, we both love the music. We both pay attention to that kind of thing. Yeah. And I thought they did an amazing job. John Hamm was terrifying. I enjoyed it. Still much love to Kevin Spacey. He did a pretty good job in that movie too. But to me, it was great action. It was funny. I don't think it was as good as it could have been. What Edgar Wright did going from a spec screenplay into the studio system, I wouldn't be surprised how much of it got dumbed down.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a $34 million budget movie. They grossed 226 worldwide. So definitely a big success for TriStar, which, if you remember TriStar movies, those are the old, that logo that would have the horse that would fly across. So I feel like they haven't made movies in years, and they've all of a sudden started to make a little bit of a comeback. So, yeah, but they haven't really done like a successful movie since, actually they own Spider-Man, so I take that back. But other than that, they haven't done things in years. Go ahead, number 2.
So the next movie I want to hit on, and I didn't know if you would mention it. I hope it's not on your bottom 5 of the year, but I thought, to me, Logan was probably one of the best superhero movies of the year.
Okay. I have not watched Logan. Sorry, I want to cut you off there, but the reason I haven't put it on mine is I haven't seen it.
Okay. I think visually it's amazing. It's so much fun to watch. I thought the first 2 Wolverine movies sucked.
Yep.
And so it was nice to see them finally get the tone and the gore, and, it was nice to see Patrick Stewart in there as Professor X. Thought the villains were a little underwhelming. Some of the story was confusing, but overall, I thought, and I know that they released a black and white version of it that, like, I'm dying to get my hands on and see.
Ooh, that sounds
but
cool.
Right? Isn't that not moody as hell?
Yeah, because to your point, because the first movies were so bad, in my opinion, I did not have an interest in number 3.
That makes sense. I wouldn't blame you for that.
The same way I wouldn't have an interest in like another Batman movie right now because the last 2 have been so disappointing. What do you got for number 3?
For number 3, I'm gonna throw a softball out to a couple of friends of mine that produced this one movie that I saw and I thought was amazing. Didn't come out till 2017, but The Black Coat's Daughter was a horror movie.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. It's about possession that takes place in like a prep school. Focuses on a young female cast. It was a really, really bleak, moody, thrilling movie. Like, it was just really cool. It's got the daughter from Mad Men's in it. It's directed by Oz Perkins, who's the son of what's his name? Anthony Perkins.
Anthony
Perkins played Norman Bates in Psycho.
Yeah, what's the name of the movie again?
The Black Coat's Daughter.
Yeah.
It's produced by Brian Bertino, who did The Strangers. Like, it was released theatrically, but I don't think it made a splash that it could have. And because I'm gonna be that guy, I'm gonna include that on my list.
Very cool. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, again, just to give them a shout out, The Black Coat's Daughter was released in February, so you should be able to find that on Amazon Prime right now, actually. Because I see an article on the right that says best horror movies on Amazon Prime right now on their page.
Boom.
So check that out. Cool. Number 4.
So number 4, I know we talked about this one in the list previously. I didn't necessarily give it the best review, but Suburbicon.
Okay.
Coen brother movie directed by George Clooney. Like, the more I think about the movie, the more I just really appreciate George Clooney as a director. And I think that he did a good job of putting together that sort of period piece crime drama. And I loved it. I liked it. And it's grown on me since, to the point where it's like, it's on my short list of movies from 2017 that I want to see again.
Yeah, that's one I haven't been able to see yet just because it didn't stay in theaters very long. So I think as soon as that hits Redbox, Netflix, or Amazon, I'm going to watch that for sure. So yeah, very, very small release, and they only grossed about $6 million. So that could be part of the issue. That's a good pick though. I like that one. What's your last one?
I'm going to say Thor 3 for my last one. I think Thor is my favorite franchise in the Marvel movie universe going on right now. It was such a vast. There were so many people in it, so many actors. It transcends time and space, and they're in this planet and that planet, and it didn't have Kat Dennings in it, so Thor 3 was a winner in my book.
Don't you dare take out Kat Dennings.
Okay, I'm very Kat Dennings. If you're listening, I'm very fond of you.
Me too.
I just don't like you in Thor.
If you could just not talk, that'd be great.
And just sort of be in the corner, maybe close, maybe. I mean, up to you. Up to you.
Up to you. Play it how you want. No, she's I haven't seen her in a movie lately. I don't know if she's just focused on TV now, or if that part of her career's kind of dried up a little bit.
I have no idea. Again, I don't think she's a bad actress. She's just not appropriate for the Thor universe, in my opinion.
Okay. So we got our top 5 favorite movies of the year. I guess we don't really have to have like a full list because, I don't know how many movies you watched throughout the year, but let's talk about some stinkers. Let's put up some of the movies that maybe missed the boat a little bit. I'm going to start with Baywatch with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I thought that movie could have been really good. And I think they could have done something a little different than what they decided to do with it. But ultimately, I didn't think it was very funny. And that movie needed to be funny. And they barely made their money back if it wasn't for the foreign box office. So I thought that one was a big miss.
I didn't even bother. Like, I couldn't get myself up to even see it. Like, I feel like if it was playing in a room and I had a choice between sitting in the corner facing the wall or watching the TV, I would choose the wall.
You know, on the flip side, I also wasn't too sure about Jumanji, and I saw that over Christmas break, and I really enjoyed Jumanji. And much like the original, which we covered back in like episode like 7 or 8, I believe, this movie's got some legs on it, and it did better second week than it did first week, and they're now past the $300 million worldwide mark in just 1 week. So, good for them. That movie was way better than I anticipated. Do you have a stinker you'd like to add to the list?
I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to accept everybody's hate mail, but I did not like John Wick 2.
Okay. Good.
I did not like it. And I love John Wick 1. Whoa. Love Keanu. But I watched John Wick 2 and my head was cocked the holes to the side the whole time just going, what the fuck is going on? What is this?
So what did you not like about Chapter 2? And I just see for reference, I really didn't see number 1.
Number 1.
Whoa.
I don't know. The problem with taking something like what John Wick 1 was and trying to replicate it, you're gonna lose a lot of the zest that made the first movie so good. Like, to me, it seems like they tried to pigeonhole a story inside of a story that already existed.
Yeah.
And it was just so, oh gosh, what's the word? I don't know. It just was so forced. And like, I felt bad because for Keanu, like they called John Wick like a movie that was going to revitalize his career.
Right.
And, you know, he's such an emotional actor. He's so face value. He's so like, he's atypical when it comes to acting. And I just thought, like, to me, it was just a waste of what could have been a really cool sequel.
My next one on my list is going to be Geostorm. This movie, and I saw part of it in the theater. I just kind of walked over and sat down for a couple minutes and started to watch it. This movie is such a cluster. I don't even know where to begin. Like it went through so many changes. I believe they actually filmed this movie in like 2015. And by some miracle, they actually made their money back because of foreign box office. But yeah, this movie was a stinker. $120 million budget. It made $33 million in the U.S. So 175 though foreign. So thank the foreigners, Gerard Butler. They saved his ass. So, what's your any more on your list?
I want to go ahead and add the newest King Kong movie onto that list.
Wow. What didn't you like about the new King Kong movie? Which is
didn't make any sense.
Kong Skull Island.
It made no sense. Like, there was no story. The special effects, thankfully, were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, which I think, you know, takes leaps and bounds from what the 2005 version did, where it was like, you know, I appreciated what they tried to do, but
right.
They forced a popcorn movie out. They pooped it out in the middle of March. They crossed their fingers and hoped for the best, and I think they did an awful job. It was boring and it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was such a good cast too. John C. Reilly, John Goodman, Samuel L. Please, damn it, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston. Like this movie should have been really good. But I agree. It wasn't. It was fun to watch just because the special effects were really cool. But yeah, overall, it's not a movie like I want to see again. I'm going to add this one to my list. I didn't have them on there originally, but just for the sake of hopefully somebody hears this and they stop making them. War for the Planet of the Apes. All I have to say is, please stop. Please. Please stop making Planet of the Apes movies. What is the point? I mean, they haven't. None of them have been good. None of them have made crazy money, but yet they continue to churn these out like every 5 years. Did you see this movie? Or?
I didn't. I'll put it this way. I haven't seen any of the new storyline of Planet of the Apes, but I want to.
Okay.
But just not enough to do it. And I mean, from what I can tell from the trailer of this is the one that had Woody Harrelson and he was like shaving his head with the knife because that's what badasses do.
Sure was.
Does anyone, just shout out to our audience, has anyone actually tried to do that? To me, that seems like it wouldn't work.
Any other movies on your list before we move on?
I think that overall, like, to me, like, I can poop on movies. You know, we can talk about how disappointed we were with Star Wars. We could talk about, I could talk about how I was disappointed with Guardians of the Galaxy, Part 2. I can't believe that neither of us didn't give a shout out to Split. I thought that was actually a really good movie.
Yeah, almost on my list. Almost.
So just shout out to anyone who hasn't seen that. It's actually a really good movie, well acted. Props for M. Night for digging himself out of a career cavern and seeing the light again, because I thought he did a good job of putting together a story that made sense. It made logical point A, point B sense, and to me, it was like a supervillain's like origin story, which is really cool because that's not at all how it was packaged.
Yeah, and boy, did he need to dig himself out of a hole too, because he was on a string of movies that were just shitter after shitter. So he needed this one, in my opinion. Let's talk about what's coming out in 2018, and is there anything right now that's kind of catching your eye, something that you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, I definitely think that 2018 is, especially with Disney buying out Fox, we're going to see, it almost seems like we're going to see a superhero movie every single month. And I don't know how to feel about that necessarily. Because I know we have the Deadpool movie coming out towards the end of the year. We've got another X-Men Dark Phoenix movie coming out. Both of those movies were made pre-buyout.
Aquaman starring Vinny
Chase.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I wish it was Vinny Chase and James Cameron. That'd be awesome.
With Aqua Girl.
Yep.
I mean, I don't have anything like really like massive on my radar. Like I'm looking forward to seeing X-Men. I think the Venom movie could be cool. I'm going to say this, and feel free to dispute me, but the Rampage movie might actually be really cool.
Yeah, now that I saw Jumanji, I'm kind of in on Rampage.
I loved that game. That was one of my favorite arcade games, and it came out on Sega, and I was all batty about that.
Yeah. Yep, I'm in after seeing what they did with Jumanji, which is basically about a game too. So count me in for that one. I would say we definitely have to put Solo, a Star Wars story, on that list, which is directed
really even despite all of like the shit that production's gone through.
Well, when I found out Ron Howard took over, I'm all set. I have all the faith in the world in Ron Howard.
Okay, I retract.
I would say Avengers Infinity War, just because it's like the next chapter and I need to see that. So I am looking forward to that. I'm not an X-Men guy, so I could care less about that movie. Ready Player One and The Predator would be my top two.
You know, I was gonna bring up Ready Player One, specifically. Hold on. Excuse me.
I'm leaving that in.
Oh, well, hey-o. I was going to specifically bring that one up because I know the trailer recently dropped, and there's been a lot of excitement. Go ahead. I know what you're about to say.
No, go ahead. I don't have anything to say.
It's Spielberg.
It's a Spielberg movie, but I mean, I just think it looks cool. I mean, it's got Chucky in it. They've got a DeLorean. I mean, come on. You had me at Chucky.
I don't see how that movie can do bad. Like it's gonna crush.
And then we have our kind of like the final confrontation with Laurie Strode and Mike Myers coming out later in the year.
Did you hear that they're casting the guy that played the original body for Mike Myers?
I actually saw a video of him working out. He's still in good shape.
I don't know if that's for certain or what, but like that's the rumor that I heard is that they're getting him to come back to play Mike Myers.
Here's another movie that I'm really looking forward to. It is Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's with Rami Malek playing the legendary singer from Queen.
Yeah, what's his name? Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, yeah.
Sorry, I had to
thanks
call
for
you out.
thanks for saying it. Was on the tip of my tongue. Like right when I started saying it, I was like, I don't remember his fucking name.
The tip of your AIDS-filled penis.
I think that looks really good. I'm kind of disappointed that they're coming out with another Jungle Book. That seems unnecessary. They just had one. And to your point, yeah, there's a couple more movies about comic books and stuff in here. Ant-Man's coming. Hellboy. And
I hate the Hellboy franchise.
And then we got the next chapter of Insidious coming out too, with the writer from the original Saw movie and the original director James Wan of Saw.
Okay, let me ask you, what's your thoughts on Ocean's 8?
Not interested.
That didn't take you.
And it's not to all the haters out there. It's not because it's a female cast. It's just because I didn't like Ocean's 8. I didn't like Ocean's 9, and I didn't care for Ocean's 10, so I'm not interested in the newest edition of Ocean's for any reason.
Yeah, I also hated Ocean's 9 and 10.
Yeah.
No, there's no such thing as Ocean's 9 and 10.
Yeah, there is.
No,
Really?
there's Ocean's 11, 12, and 13.
Really?
You're killing me, Smalls.
What was the
Your
first
point
one?
Being, I think it was Ocean's 11 back in the 60s with Sinatra, and then they remade it in 2000 something with George Clooney.
Well, how many
Ocean's
assholes
11.
were in that movie?
Did you say how many assholes?
Yeah, there's 11. Okay, well,
11 assholes.
Ah, jeez. Okay, well, I'll retract. I didn't care about Ocean's 11, which was the original. I didn't care about the sequel. And now apparently they're losing people, so they're now down to 8, and they've switched their genders to female. And I lost interest in Ocean's 11, so I'm not going to settle for 3 less.
So here's my thing, and I like the way that you prefaced it by saying, hey, haters, back off.
Right.
I'm not excited about this at all.
No.
Because from a storytelling point of view, what is your advantage of having it be females? Same with the Ghostbusters movie.
Right.
What's the advantage of it being females? There isn't one other than to sell tickets.
Right.
So, and I say the same regard. So, like Ocean's 11 was an all male cast. I would have had no issues if there was females, if it was half and half.
I hate it to come across like this, but it feels like a really shitty way to try and cash in on the success of Wonder Woman. That's what it feels like to me.
But the sad thing is, the new Ghostbusters movie didn't do that. It was the same thing, and they met backlash. But the backlash wasn't because we don't want female-led movies. The backlash is because you don't want to be force-fed a female movie for the sake of it being female.
Yeah, the same way I didn't want to be force-fed Will Smith's son as the Karate Kid.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. 'Cause I didn't see that.
No.
I had no interest in seeing that.
Yep. I think, number one, you should stay away from old properties and remaking them to begin with. Just come up with new stories. Justin's a writer. Hire him. Number two, shout out to you, though, too. I saw you got it nominated for some award or mentioned by somebody. That was cool.
But yeah, shout out. Inktip featured one of my recent scripts on their recent publication that they sent out. It's Trouble Comes a Knocking. It's a pretty cool little thriller story about a dinner party gone wrong.
That's awesome, man.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I tried to get you to read it. You didn't read it.
Well, that doesn't mean I would have good mention in the article, so it's still all you.
Well, thank you. Well, no, I always give you credit when you get your hands dirty and you contribute. I always give you a co-writer credit.
When I wet my beak, I always get a little shout out. But I do need to get back into it, and I still have that idea of the old script I was telling you about a while ago that I was super excited about, the boxing one. without
Yeah.
giving away on air. So
Um,
that shall be revisited this year.
Good, 2018, man.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's good for as far as like what we're looking forward to. So basically, we're just looking at going to a movie once a month to see a new superhero or comic book movie. It sounds like
And you got the leg up with your movie pass, man.
you need to cash in on that, dude. I'm telling you.
I know it.
I saw 5 movies this last month, or maybe even 6. Saw quite a few. So, and I paid $10. And if you go during like, the off hours, like 4 or 5 o'clock, then you could even bring a friend and they don't pay anything because you can get 2 tickets for the price of 1. It covers up to $15.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Cheap date. There you go.
Cheap date.
So let's jump into our podcast a little bit. So we wrapped up our first year. We did 19 full episodes and then a bunch of teaser trailers in there as well. What were your thoughts on our first year and our first 19 eps?
It's been a wild ride. I'm going to try that one more time without puberty.
Take it again. From the top.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a wild ride. Like, I don't know about you. I personally don't listen to podcasts.
Well, I have to edit them, so.
No, I'm saying I don't listen to any podcasts. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to AM radio. I don't watch ESPN. I don't like watching or listening to other people talk.
Okay.
I would prefer to contribute into the conversation. Which is what we want you guys to do.
Right.
Tweet at us and give us your hate mail and your love notes.
At Back in Time Pod, at Unjust Justin.
That's my Twitter, yeah.
There you go. And then at KAutry29. Follow us on there. Give us a shout out. But yeah, what would you say was like your favorite episode that we did? I mean, just from memory. Obviously, you haven't listened to them back, but
I love the comedy that we're able to do because I feel like what we provide with this podcast, it sounds like an infomercial right now. What we provide for the price of a cup of coffee a day. Anytime we get to do a comedy movie and we get to hit the impressions.
yeah.
So like I loved like Major Pain was I had the most fun doing Major Pain.
Major Pain was really fun.
It was just a fun one to do.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that one was really good. Major Pain might have been the funnest one to do, but I think my favorite episode so far would have to be, I want to go with Monster Squad still. I had such a fun time going back over that movie.
Well, I will say, I think that when we hit Scream in the next few weeks, and as our fans voted for Scream, I think we're going to have the same amount of fun because the same way that Monster Squad did service to those Universal Studios movies, that's what Scream does service to 70s and 80s slasher movies.
Right.
And it's just finding those moments because everything in that movie is designed, every actor is positioned and named a certain way for a reason. And when you get to like uncover all of those mysteries, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Another episode I really liked was Saw because we had a third person. I thought it was fun having somebody else to bounce off of.
It was fun to have that like third perspective, especially since Jesse's a little bit younger than us, so he's got like a different experience from having seen Saw.
Yeah,
and it creates that like great dynamic where we're able to bounce ideas and like I would say something and then you would say something and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that way. And then Jesse would say something and I'm like, holy shit, we just created a shitstorm of great ideas. That, with only 2 people, it's not a shitstorm, but it's a regular storm.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting. It seems like we have quite a few followers that really like the horror episodes, so expect to get a lot more of that in 2018, I would say. Our number 1 and number 2 most downloaded episode was Halloween and Friday the 13th. And then Wayne's World and Addams Family were 3 and 4, which are more comedy. So Yeah. And then Saw was number 5. So 3 out of our top 5 were horror.
Did you see the news that they're redoing the Addams Family as a cartoon?
That'd be cool.
I disagree.
Well, okay. Why you don't want to see the property redone or what?
Oh, no. I would love to see the property redone. Can you imagine a modern Addams Family movie, how dark and grim and bleak they could make it?
With like an all-female cast?
Well, what other way are you going to do it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't read anything about it. Is there, what are you not liking about it? Is it who they're casting, or is it because it's cartoon, or?
It's because it's a cartoon.
Okay.
It's like how the new Wes Anderson movie is going to be a cartoon.
Okay.
And when he came out with Fantastic Mr. Fox, I was like, oh, I watched it and I loved it, but I was like, why can't it be live action? I respond better to live action than cartoons.
Okay. Well, you're not
So
5 years old, so that makes sense.
I'm not. Thank you. Finally, you finally agree with me.
What are you most looking forward to us covering in the new year? Like what movies like on your list of I can't wait until we do this one?
Well, that's kind of like a $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have an answer to that? I think I've got 2 answers.
I do. Back to the Future.
Do you want to do Back to the Future in 2018?
Definitely.
I want to do Home Alone.
Okay. That'll be really fun. We're probably about 12 months away from that.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 12 months we're not hearing about a Home Alone reboot now that Disney owns the property.
I dread that happening, though.
I do, but Disney is so good at what they do.
Yeah.
Minus what they did with The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Everybody I've talked to recently, I was like, because my opinion totally changed after you gave your review. I was like, oh my God, you're totally right. It was a freaking slow speed chase in space. So every person I talked to, they're just like, really? I thought it was great. So weird.
Yeah. Send us your hate mail. Hate mail.
Yep. Any other movies you can think of?
Yeah. Did you rewatch Speed yet? I know Speed's on our upcoming list.
Yep. Yeah, I've watched Speed. I'm going through and doing all the notes now, but I did rewatch it this weekend or this past week, and it's still a really good movie.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Speed it's been a few years since I've seen it, but it's a really good movie.
It's really well done.
It is well done. It's well acted. The storyline is actually pretty incredible. The amount of thrills that they jam in there, I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but at every freaking turn, there's something that happens. There's a sense of urgency that Star Wars: The Last Jedi was nowhere near touching.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe me, rewatch Speed and get ready for our next episode. Boom.
Yeah, and I have to say too, I don't know that he's even active anymore. I think he's retired, but the director of this movie is really good. He's done some great stuff. I think it's Jan de Bont, if I'm saying it right. He's a Dutch cinematographer, and he did Twister, Basic Instinct, Hunt for the Red October, Die Hard, Cujo. I mean, he's got a whole list of stuff that he's been part of.
He did Cujo? Cujo gave me nightmares.
Yeah. Yep. So he was the director or photographer for all those movies I just named, like Cujo, Die Hard, and then I think his directing career, if I'm correct here, let me pull something up. So his first movie he ever directed was actually Speed. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the next episode. And then Twister was his follow-up. So talk about smash hit, followed by smash hit, followed by the biggest popcorn fart of all time, Speed 2.
Oh, but
poor bastard.
We'll discuss this when we do that episode on Speed. I don't want to get into it now. I don't want to get into it.
All right, that sounds good. So let's wrap this up. We're gonna close the book on 2017. I know we said that last episode, but here's the thing: you're listening to this in 2018, so Happy New Year! Thanks for being a listener. Follow us on social media, Back in Time Pod. We're on our website, backintimepod.wordpress.com, and all episodes are up on YouTube, and then you can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcast app that you own or have downloaded on your device. And give us a subscribe and a 5-star rating. That helps us grow the podcast. And we will be back. Next episode will be dropping in a couple days. It's going to be the teaser trailer for Speed, and that'll be followed a couple days later by the full episode of Speed. So expect this one to be out first thing Monday morning. You're probably listening to it Wednesday, the teaser, Friday, the full episode. We're out of time, and time to punch in. It's December 31st, 2017. We're 4.5 hours from the new year, and it's time to return back to present day. We're out of here. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye. It means your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one. Both of you.